Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to learn how to multiply integers and decimals. We've got 4 success criteria, and the first one is to recall basic multiplication facts. So there are many other words for the word multiply. We can have and, times, by, product, lots of. Now there are certain multiplication facts that we can use to find others. For instance, if we know that 3 times 5 is 15, we can also work out 30 times 5. We can do 3 times 5, which is 15, and because the question has 1 0 in it, we can add a 0 to our answer. So 30 times 5 is 150. We can also do 30 times 500 by doing 3 times 5, which is 15, and we can see that we have 3 zeros in the question, so we need to add 3 zeros to our answer. So 30 times 500 is 15,000. Here's another example. So if we know that 8 times 4 is 32, that means 8 times 40, because the question has 1 0 in it, we add a 0 to our answer, so 8 times 40 is 320. We can work out 800 times 40 by doing 8 times 4, which is 32, and then our question has 3 zeros in it, so we need 3 zeros in our answer. So 800 times 40 is 32,000. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers, there's your amber answers, there's your red answers, and there's your purple answers. And now we've completed success criteria 1. So now we're going to move on to number 2, and this is to use a method of long multiplication of integers. So there are lots of different methods that you can use to multiply large numbers together. We're going to look at 3 different types of methods. We've got the column method, the grid method, and the Chinese multiplication method, which is sometimes called the Napier's bones method. So I'm going to show you how to do 15 times 24 using the column method. First of all, we set it out like this: 15 on top and 24 underneath. We always start by doing 4 times 5 first, which is 20. So we put a 0 down and we carry the 2. Next, we do 4 times 1, which is 4, but we need to remember to add the 2 that we carried. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Now we're going to times by the 2, and because the 2 is in the tens column, we need to add a 0 underneath. Then we do 2 times 5, which is 10, so we put 0 down and carry the 1. Then we do 2 times 1, which is 2. Remember to add on the 1 that we've carried, so that's 3. And now we can add these two numbers together. So that's 360, which is our answer. going to do the same calculation, but this time using the grid method. So we set out a grid like this, with 10 and 5 at the top for 15, and 20 and 4 on the side. And we times each of these numbers together, and then add the results together. So 20 times 10 is 200, 20 times 5 is 100, 4 times 10 is 40, and 4 times 5 is 20. We then add all of these numbers together to get our answer. So 200 plus 100 is 300, and 40 plus 20 is 60, and 300 plus 60 is 360. We can also use the Chinese multiplication methods. So because we're doing a 2-digit number times by a 2-digit number, we need a 2 by 2 box, and we put diagonal lines through each of the boxes that go through the grid. Then we write 15 at the top and 24 at the side. 1 times 2 is 2, so we put 0 and 2 in the box. 5 times 2 is 10, so we put a 1 up top and a 0 underneath. 1 times 4 is 4, so we put a 0 up top and a 4 underneath. 5 times 4 is 20, so we put a 2 up top and a 0 underneath. Now we add together the diagonals. So we start in the bottom right hand corner, and the first diagonal adds up to just 0. The next diagonal is 0 plus 2 plus 4, so that's 6. The next diagonal is 1 plus 2 plus 0, so that's 3. And the final diagonal is just 0. So our answer is 360. This time we're going to answer 57 times 79 using the column method. So we start by doing 9 times 7, which is 63. So we put 3 down and carry the 6. Then we do 9 times 5, which is 45, but we need to add on the 6 that we carried. So that's 51. Next, I'm going to times by the 7, which is in the tens column. So I need to make sure I put a 0 underneath the 3. Then I do 7 times 7, which is 49. So I put a 9 down and carry the 4. Then we do 7 times 5, which is 35. And I need to add on the 4 that I carried. So that's 39. Then I add these two numbers together. 3 plus 0 is 3. 1 plus 9 is 10, so I put 0 down and carry the 1. 5 plus 9 plus 1 is 15, so 5 down, carry the 1. And 3 plus 1 is 4. So my answer is 4,503. Again, we're going to do the same calculation, but this time using the grid method. So I draw a grid like this, and I write 50 and 7 at the top, and at the side 70 and 9. And I'm going to times each of these numbers together. So 50 times 70 is 3,500. 70 times 7 is 490. 50 times 9 is 450. And 9 times 7 is 63. I then need to add all these numbers together. So 3,500 plus 490 is 3,990. And 450 plus 63 is 513. Then I add these two numbers together. 0 plus 3 is 3. 9 plus 1 is 10. So 0 down, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 plus 5 is 15. So 5 down, carry the 1. And 1 plus 3 is 4. So again, my answer is 4,503. We're going to do the same question again, but this time using the Chinese multiplication method. So I've got a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number, so I need a 2 by 2 grid, and I draw diagonals through each of the boxes. I then write 57 at the top and 79 at the side. 5 times 7 is 35. 7 times 7 is 49. 5 times 9 is 45. And 7 times 9 is 63. I then add up the diagonals, starting in the bottom right hand corner. So the first diagonal is just 3. The next diagonal is 20, so I put 0 down, carry the 2 into the next diagonal. 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 2 is 15, so I put 5 down and carry the 1 into the next diagonal. And 3 plus 1 is 4. So my answer is 4,503. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. You can use whichever method works best for you. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers, there's your amber answers, there's your red answers, and there's your purple answers. The green's made lobster, the amber's made shell, the red's made whale, and the purple's made dolphin. And now we've completed success criteria 2. So now we're going to move on to number 3, and this is to use a long method of multiplication for decimals. If we want to do 0.7 times 0.3, well, we know that 7 times 3 is 21. So if we have a look at 0.7 times 0.3, you can see we have 2 decimal places in the question. So that's how many decimal places we need in the answer. So we need 2 decimal places in our answer, so it's going to be 0.21. Remember, however many decimal places you have in the question, that's how many you need in the final answer. This time we want to do 0.04 times 0.6. Now 4 times 6 is 24. So in the question, you can see we have 3 decimal places. So that's how many we need in our final answer. So our final answer will be 0.024. For this question, we want to do 1.2 times 0.9. Well, 12 times 9 is 108. So if we have a look at our question, we have 2 decimal places in the question, so we need 2 decimal places in our answer. So our answer will be 1.08. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So for this question, we want to do 0.07 times 0.8. Well, 7 times 8 is 56, and in our question, we have 3 decimal places. So we need 3 decimal places in our answer. So our final answer is 0.056. This time we want to do 2.7 times by 8. So if we work out 27 times 8 first, so I'm going to do that using the Chinese multiplication method. 2 times 8 is 16, and 7 times 8 is 56. Add up the diagonals. 5 plus 6 is 11, so 1 down, carry the 1 into the next diagonal, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So 27 times 8 is 216. So if we want to do 2.7 times 8, you can see in the question we've got 1 decimal place, so we need 1 decimal place in our answer. So my final answer is 21.6. Here's another question. This time I want to do 5.2 times 1.3. So if I ignore the decimal points for now and just do 52 times 13. So 5 times 1 is 5. So I'll put 0 up top and 5 underneath. 2 times 1 is 2. So I'll put 0 and then 2. 5 times 3 is 15. And 2 times 3 is 6. I then add up the diagonals. So there's 6. 2 plus 0 plus 5 is 7. 0 plus 5 plus 1 is 6. And then 0 is just on its own there. So 52 times 13 is 676. Now if we have a look at the original question, we've got 2 decimal places in the question, so we need 2 decimal places in our answer. So our decimal point needs to go in between the 6 and the 7. So our answer is 6.76. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. And there's your red answers. Here, we're told 23 times 15 is 345. So we want to work out these other calculations. So see what we've done to each of the numbers to get the question. So in the first question, we've divided 23 by 10 to get 2.3. So we need to divide our answer by 10 as well. So 2.3 times 15 will be 34.5. In the second question, we've divided 15 by 100 and divided 23 by 100 as well. So we need to do the same thing to our answer. We we need to divide it by 100 and then divide it by 100 again, which is 0.0345. In the third question, we've times 23 by 100, so we need to do the same thing to our answer. We times 345 by 100, which is 34,500. In the fourth question, we've times 23 by 100 and divided 15 by 100. So we need to do the same thing to 345. We times it by 100 and then divide it by 100, which means we get 345, which is what we started with. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. There's your green answers. There's your amber answers. And there's your red answers. And now we've completed success criteria 3. So now we're going to move on to number 4, and this is to apply to problem solving questions. So Class 8 are going to the zoo. It costs £34 per student, and there are 29 students in the class. The class have been raising money for their trip, and so far they have raised £675. So how much more money do they need to raise to go to the zoo? So to answer a question like this, it can be important to highlight the key parts of the question. So first of all, we work out how much money they need in total. So that's £34 per student, and there's 29 students. So that's £986. Now they've raised £675 so far. So they need to raise £311 more. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So this question says a cinema has 23 rows of seats with 47 seats in each row. A ticket costs £11.49. So how much does the cinema make if every seat is filled? So first of all, we need to work out how many seats the cinema has. So that's 23 times 47, which is 1081. And if each seat is filled, that means each seat brings in £11.49. So we do 1081 times £11.49, which is £12,420.69. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. And the word they made were elephants. Here are some slightly harder questions for you to have a go at. Again, pause the video, And when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. And the word that they made were zebras. And now we've completed success criteria 4. So now that we've completed the last objective, it's time to end the video. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you found it useful. Make sure to like and subscribe and be sure to check out any other videos on the rest of the channel. I'll see you next time. See ya.